प्रेम से बोलो श्री उमापति महादेव की जय. Let us all now join in opening prayers to Bhagavan Ganesha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvighanam Kuru me Devam Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadam Gajananam Bhutaganadisevitam Kapitajambo Phalacharubhakshinam Umasutam Shokavinashakarakam Namami Vighaneshwar Pada Pankajam. Om Pranamya Shirasa Devam Gauriputram Vinayakam Bhaktavasam Smare Nityam Ayuhu Kamartha Siddhaye. Prathamam Vakratundam cha Ekadantam Dvitiyakam Trutiyam Krishna Pingaksham Gajavakram Chaturtakam Lambodaram Panchamam cha Shashtam Vikatameva cha Saptamam Vignaranjendram Dhumravarnam Tathashtamam Navamam Bhalachandram cha Dashamam tu Vinayakam Ekadasham Ganapatim Dvadasham tu Gajananam Dvadashaitani Namani Trisanyam Yahavpate Naraha Nacha Vignam Bhayam Tasyam Sarvasiddhim Karam Prabhu Vidyarthi Labhati Vidyam Dhanarthi Labhati Dhanam Putrarthi Labhati Putram Moksharthi Labhati Gatim Japeta Ganapati Stotram Shabhilamasi Padam Labhet Samvatsarena Siddhim cha Lavate Naste Samchayam Ashtabhyo Brahmanebhyascha Likitvaya Samarpayim Tasya Vidyat Bhavet Sarva Ganeshasya Prasiditaham. Prem se bolo Shri Ganapati Bhagavan ki jai. And of course, we dedicate prayers to Bhagavan Shiva, who is the ruler of this day, who is Someshwar, the Lord of Somavar, where his energies are the most present and the most pure. Let us all join in prayers. Om Vande Devam Umapatim Suragurum Vande Jagat Karanam Vande Pannagabhushanam Mrigadharam Vande Pashunam Patim Vande Surya Shashankavahri-nayanam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhaktajanashrayam Chavaridam Vande Shivam Shankaram Shantan Padamasanastam Shashidharmukutam Panchavakram Trinetram Shulam Vajram Chagatkam Parashubhabhayadam Dakshinange Mahantam Nagam Pasham Chagantadamurukasahitam Chakusham Vamabhage Nanalankara-yuttam Spatikamalnibham Parvati Sham Namami. Prem se bolo Shri Umapati Mahadeva ki jai. Now let us all join in the Shri Shivaji Chalisa, 40 verses dedicated to the glory of Bhagavan Shiva. Let us all join. Jai Ganesh Girija Suvan Mangala Mula Sujana Kahat Yodhya Dasatum Dehu Abhay Vardanam Jai Girijapati Deen Dayala Sada Karat Santana Pratipala Bhal Chandrama Sohatni Ke Kanan Kundal Nagapani Ke Ang Gaur Sir Ganga Bahai Band Mal Tan Char Lagaye Vastra Kal Bangam Par Sohe Chali Ko Dekh Nag Muni Mohe Main Matu Ki Have Dulari Bama Ang Sohat Chavinyari Kar Trishula Sohat Chabibhari Karat Sada Shatruna Chayakari Nandi Ganesh Soheta Hanke Se Sagar Madhya Kamal Hai Jaise Kartik Shama Nirghan Rayo या छवि को कहीं जात न खाओ देवन जब ही जय पुकारा तब ही दुख प्रभुआ परिवारा किया उपाद्रव तारक भारी देवन सब मिली तुम ही जुहारी करत शरानन आप पथायो लवनिमेष महामारी गिरायो आप जलंधर असुर संहारा सुयश तुम्हारा विदित संसारा त्रिपुरासुर सन युद्ध मचाई सब ही कृपा कर वीर बचाई किया तपहि भगीरथ भारी पूर्व प्रत्येघतास पुरारी धनि नमहन तुम सम को नाही सेवक स्तुति करत सदाई वेद नाम महिमा तब गाई अखठ अनादि भेद नहीं पाई प्रगति उदधि मंथन में ज्वाला जरे सुरासुर भई विहारा कि हृदया तह करी सहाई नीलकंठ तब नाम सुनाई पूजन रामचंद्र जब कीन्हा जीत के लंक विभीषण दीन्हा सहस कमल में हो रही धारी कीन्हा परीक्षा तब ही पुरारी एक कमल प्रभु राखे उजोई कमल नयन पूरन छह सोई कतिन भक्ति देखी प्रभु शंकर भय प्रसन्न दिए चितवर जय 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 अनंत अविनाशी करत कृपा सबकी घटवासी दुष्ट सकल नित मोहि सतावे भ्रमत रहे मोहि चैन न आवे त्राहि त्राहि में नाथ पुकारो यही अवसर मोहियानि उबारो मात ले त्रिशूल शत्रुन को मारो संकट से मोहियानि उबारो मात पिता भ्राता सब कोई, संकट में पूछत नहीं कोई। स्वामी एक है आस तुम्हारी, अयहरहु अभ संकट भारी। धन निर्धन को देत सदा ही, जो कोई जाचे वो फल पाही। स्तुति के ही विधि करो तुम्हारी, क्षमहु नाथ अब चूक हमारी। शंकर हो संकट के नाशन, विघ्न विनाशन मंगल कारण। योगी अति मुनि ध्यान लगावे, नारद शारद शीश नवावे।
नमो नमो जय नमो शिवाय, सुर ब्रह्मादिक पारण पाया। जो यह पात करे मन लाई, तापर होत है शंभु सहाई। या जो कोई हो अधिकारी, पात करे सो पावन हारी। पुत्रहीन इच्छा कर कोई, निश्चय शिव प्रसाद ते होई। पंडित त्रयोदशी को लावे, ध्यान पूर्वक होम करावे। त्रयोदशी व्रत करे हमेशा, तन नहीं ताके रहे कलेसा। धूप दीप नैवेद्य चढ़ावे, शंकर सन्मुख पाद सजावे। जन्म जन्म के पापन सारे, अंतवास शिवपुर में आवे। कही अयोध्या आस तुम्हारी, जान सकल दुख हर हमारी। ओम नमः शिवाय, 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नित्य नेम कर प्रातहि, पात करो 40। तुम मेरी मानो कामना, पूर्ण कीन कल्याण। उमापति महादेव की जय। Now let us all join in the Shri Rudrashtakam, Rudra Ashtakam. 8 verses dedicated to the glory of Bhagavan Vishnu. Let us all join together as we sing the Maha Rudrashtakam. Namami Shamishan Nirvan Rupam Vibhum Vyapakam Brahmaveda Sarupam Nijam Nirgunam Nirvikalpam Niriham Chidakashivakashivasam Bhajeham Nirakar Omkar Moolam Tuliyam गिरा ज्ञान कोटितमीशं गिरीशं करालं महाकालकालं कृपालं गुणागार संसार पारं नतोऽहं तुषाराद्रिशङ्खाशिघोरं गभीरं मनोभूतिकोटिप्रभाश्रीशरीरं सुरनमौलिकल्लोलनीचारुगङ्गा लसत्भागभानेन्दुकन्ते भुजङ्गा चलत्कन्दलं भ्रूसुनेत्रं विशालं प्रसन्नाननं नीलकण्ठं दयालं मृगाधीशचर्मं वरं मन्दमादं प्रियं शङ्करं सर्वनाथं भजामि प्रचण्डं प्रकृष्टं प्रगल्भं परेशम् अखण्डम् अजं भानुकोटिप्रकाशं त्रयशूलनिर्मूलनं शूलपाणिं भजेऽहं भवानीपतिं भावगम्यं कलातीतकल्याणकल्पान्तकारी सदा सज्जनानन्ददाता पुरारी चिदानन्दसन्नोहमोहापहारी प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रभो मन्मथारी न यावत् उमानाथ पादारविन्दं भजन्ति हलोके परे वा नरानं न तावत् सुखं शान्ति सन्तापनाशम् प्रसीद प्रभो सर्वभूतादिवासं न जानामि योगं जपं नैव पूजं नतोऽहं सदा सर्वदा सम्भुतोऽभ्यं जराजन्मदुःखोदताताप्यमाना प्रभो पाहि यापन्नमामीश शम्भो नमामीशमीशाननिर्वाणरूपं विभुं व्यापकं ब्रह्मवेदास्वरूपं निजं निर्गुणं निर्विकल्पं निरीहं चिदाकाशवाकाशवासं भजेऽहं चिदाकाशवाकाशवासं भजेऽहं नमामीशमीशाननिर्वाणरूपं विभुं व्यापकं ब्रह्मवेदस्वरूपं निजं निर्गुणं निर्विकल्पं निरीहं चिदाकाशवाकाशवासं भजेऽहं नमामीशमीशाननिर्वाणरूपं विभुं व्यापकं ब्रह्मवेदस्वरूपं निजं निर्गुणं निर्विकल्पं निरीहं चिदाकाशवाकाशवासं भजेऽहं चिदाकाशवाकाशवासं भजेऽहं चिदाकाशवाकाशवासं भजेऽहं। प्रेम से बोलो श्री उमापति महादेव की जय। And of course, how can we ever forget about the Shri Hanumanji Chalisa? 40 verses dedicated to the glory of Bhagwan Hanumanji. Jo shatabar pat kar koi, juta hi bandi mahasa ko hoi. In this Shri Hanumanji Chalisa, it says, Jo shatabar pat kar koi. Whoever chants this Hanumanji Chalisa 100 times, then they shall achieve and experience the highest form of happiness one can offer. Now you see, what is this happiness? What is this supreme form of happiness that Hanumanji, or the Hanumanji Chalisa rather, talks about? What do they mean by the highest form of happiness? Does it mean that no matter what we do, no matter how bad things are in life, no matter how bad things may seem, no matter how sad we may be, we will always remain happy? Is this what this means? Does it mean that even when there are global crises around the world, even when families are in grief, they are in troubles, they are in worry, when people are dying, does this mean that we will still remain happy at all times? Does it mean that we may become sad at times, but through our happiness, we will be able to overcome this sadness that we are experiencing? Does it mean that we will be able to be happy in any circumstance whatsoever? Well, in the Hanumanji Chalisa, Jo shatabar pat kar koi, juta hi bandi mahasuk hoi. Mahasuk. This mahasuk, this great happiness. In our scriptures, it says, Santosham param sukham. Santosham, or santosh. This word santosh, it means contentment. Param sukham. Param means the greatest, and sukham means to be happy or happiness. So when we take all of these three things and we put them all together, we put it into one phrase that is so simple, one phrase that can be said by anyone and can be understood by anyone. We get Santosham Param Sukham. Contentment is the highest form of happiness. Meaning that we may not have many things materially. We may not possess things materially. We may not have all the fancy gadgets, all the fancy bells and whistles, all the fancy things that make people happy, that make people pleased, that make people satisfied. Although we may not have these physical things, we still remain happy with whatever we have. We still remain content with whatever we have. One person may have, or one child may have the most fanciest toy that they play around with, that they show off on other people. They have this one toy that they think is better than all of other children's toys. They think and they know that it is newer, greater, and more fun to play with. And many of the other children may be jealous. They may envy that person. They may be like, oh man, I really want that toy. It's so cool. It's so special. That child looks so happy with it. They look like nothing can ever make them sad as long as they have that toy. But there's always that one child who will say, yes, this person may have this one very special toy. It has the bells and whistles that all the kids want these days. It has all the cool features. It has all the cool technologies, all the cool buttons, all of the things that'll make it seem new and improved. Well, only for a newer version to come out in the couple months later. They will say, yes, it has all of these great things, but I am happy with mine. Or at least I have a toy to make me happy. And because of this, I'm satisfied. I am satisfied that I have something at least to make me happy. I have something that I could relate to other people with. I could bring my toy and share it with other people and say, I don't need anything else. This is all I need, this is all I want, and I am content with it. You see, in life, we must always be like this. We must always be content with whatever we have. As you know, in North America, there's a lot of technology, there are a lot of advancements in technologies, hardware, many sorts of things. And yet we want more. We want more toys, we want more supplies, we want more supplies, we want more tools. We want everything. We want everything that comes out newer. We want the newer version of something. Only for a newer version than that to come out in the next year, or hey, maybe in a couple of months. We crave so much for one thing, only for it to be outshined by something else. We get something that's so new
that we say will satisfy us. We go up to our parents and we say we want something, and we say we'll never ask back for something ever again. We say that this will satisfy us. We say that this is all we need and this is enough for us. This is all we want. This is all we will ever need because this is what I will be happy with. Only for a newer version to come out. And then once again, we will go back to our parents and say that, oh, I want the newer version because it has better features. It's more compatible with other things. You see, in life, we are never really content. We are never really satisfied with one thing. We are never content. We have one thing, and out comes another thing, and we just want to get it immediately because it seems like the best thing in the world. But in reality, this should not be the case. Instead, we should use what we have. We should use what we have and then make the best use with it. You know, there's a term called jerry-rigging. And you basically fix something with the tools you have laying around. You don't buy unnecessary expensive tools. You need to buy more expensive tools from the hardware store. You just use what you have and you just make it work. And also we've been chanting this Hanumanji Chalisa for 2 nights, for 2 times a day most of the time, rather. So let us all pray that as we sing this Hanumanji Chalisa, let us be content with what we have. Let us remain happy with all that we have. And let us not crave more, because all that we need in life is Bhagwan. All that we need in life is the name and the feet of Bhagwan. Because once we have that, we do not need anything else. Because once you have God, then you have everything. Let us all join together. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raja Nij Mana Mukur Sudhar Barno Raghuvar Bimala Jasa Jodayaka Palachar Buddhihin Tanu Janike Sumiro Pavan Kumar Balbuddhi Vedya Deho Mohin Harahu Kalesha Vikar. Let us all join in the Shri Hanumanji Chalisa. Jai Hanuman Gyan, Jai Hanuman Gyan Guna Sagar, Jai Kapisha Tinhu Loka Ujagar, Ram Dupa Tuleta Bhaldhama, Anjali Putra Pavana Satnama, Mahavir Vikram Bajrangi, Kumat Nivar Sumati Ke Sangi, Kanchanavar Naviraj Suvesa, Kanan Kundal भद्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कान्हे मूज जने वो साजे, शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन, विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिवे को आतुर, प्रभु चरित सुनिवे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया, सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा,
विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा, भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे,
लाए
वन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए, रघुपति की नहीं बहुत बधाई, तुम मम प्रिया भरत संहारे, सहस बदल तुम्हरो यश गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंत लगावे, सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित ईसा, यम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते, कहि कोविद कहि सके कहाते, तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा, राम मिलाए राज पर दीन्हा, तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर
भय सब
जग जाना, युग सहस्र योजन पर भानु, लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु, प्रभु मुद्रिका मेरी मुख माही, जल्दी लांगी के अचरज नाही, दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते, राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होतन आज्ञा बिन पैसारे, सब सुकल है तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहो को धरना,
आपन
तेज संहारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा,
जपत
निरंतर हनुमत वीरा, संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, तासु अमित जीवन फल पावे, चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा, है पर सिद्धि जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा,
तुम्हारे
भजन राम को भावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंतकाल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई, और देवता चेतन दरही, हनुमत से ही सर्व सुख करही, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलवीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई, जो शत बार पात कर कोई, जो कहीं बन महास कहोई, जो यह पर
होए सिद्धि साखी होए सा
तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा कीजे नाथ हृदय महादेव
कीजे नाथ हृदय महादेव कीजे नाथ हृदय
पवन तनय
संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय में बसहु सुरभूप।
बोले पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय। With the many praises that we give to Bhagwan Hanumanji, a lot of what we say is that, "O Hanumanji, you are like an ocean of knowledge. You have an ocean of knowledge. If we can get just a little drop, a little tinge of that ocean of knowledge, then we shall be satisfied. We shall be content." But what really is knowledge? A lot of people come up with many different definitions to knowledge. They say that they have lots of knowledge. They have retained so much knowledge over all of the years in their existence. They say that, "Oh, I have more knowledge than you," or "You can learn from me. Here is some knowledge. Here is some knowledge. You need knowledge, 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 knowledge all over the place." But is there a proper definition to knowledge? Can the dictionary say one thing and like the real meaning be other? What is the real meaning of knowledge? Is knowledge just what we learn in school? Is it what we see in media? You know, a lot of the times in these days, a lot of children, they think that they have more knowledge than their parents. They think that they have ascended far superior. They are more smarter, more intelligent. They have more knowledge than their parents. They think that they don't know my parents don't know anything. They think that the parents don't know anything. They think that they know more than the parents because they know more about technology, more about the real world, more about the world outside of their home, more about the world in general, more about media, more about social media, websites, technology, all these different types of things, all these different types of media. We think that because we know so much, because of technology, because of all these resources, websites, all of these things, we think that we know more than our parents. We think that just because our parents or elder ones don't know anything about technology or anything about that, or just anything else in general about life, about growing up, about problems. We often say, or people often say to their parents, "You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what I'm feeling. You have no idea what I'm going through." They think that the parents have never experienced any of what they are experiencing, when in fact they know everything. They know everything what is in your mind. They know you like they're the back of your. They know everything. They know everything about you. And they know everything. They know about life. They know about changes in life. They have more knowledge than you. They have been through exactly what you have been through. Whenever we say to them, you have no idea what I'm experiencing, that is not the case at all, because they have experienced life in the fullest. Back to knowledge. Knowledge, it goes beyond what is written on the chalkboards in the classroom. It goes beyond the certificates that we receive. You see, gaining a certificate and claiming that you have gained knowledge, that's not the case. You have not really gained knowledge. We are told that what we learn is knowledge. We are told that knowledge is power. We are told that since knowledge is power, we can use that knowledge to become superior to others. But in fact, knowledge is not what we learn, but it is the ability to take what we learn and apply it to our daily lives. You see, when we are in school and we are studying something, we're studying a certain subject. It could be math, science, language, art, all of these different subjects that we study in school. We read the textbooks, we complete assignments, and then the test comes. Once the test comes, or as a matter of fact, before the test comes, we gather up all of our notes, we gather up all of the things that we have learned, and we study. We study and study and study. We cram everything that we learned in that unit so that we shall get a good mark on that test. We make sure that we remember every single little detail, every single little bit of information, so that we shall get the best mark that we can on that test, so that we can get that 100 out of 100, so we can get that 100%, so we can get that good grade on our report card. We can get that A+. So after you perform the test, you get that A+ that you really wanted, that you worked so hard for. And you're satisfied with that mark. But what happens after that? Instead of retaining and remembering all of the information that you have learned in that subject, instead, what do? In most cases, we forget all of it because we think that we don't need it anymore because we did the test. And after the test, we don't need that information because all we need is for that good grade to be written on our report card. For it to have a good mark on our report card so that we shall be satisfied. When in fact, that should not be the case. Because what's gonna happen later? The following year, when you're gonna do a review or maybe expand on that subject. It could be algebra, it could be math, anything. But remember, you did not retain that information that you studied and you worked so hard to remember for. You did not retain any of it. You just forgot it after you performed that test. Instead of remembering it, you just forgot it. And once it comes back in the next year, once you have to expand on it, then you remember nothing. Then the teacher has to go back through the entire unit, slow down everything, and then finally you begin the new part or the new session of that unit. You see, that is not knowledge. Knowledge is when we can take the information that we have learned and not only study it, not only remember it only for the test, but to remember it, and not only to remember it, but to apply it in our day-to-day lives. Let's take something as simple as, math. We learn about numbers in the earliest grade, in kindergarten, for those in North America. in kindergarten or in other countries or continents. So in kindergarten, we learn about numbers. We learn that there are different numbers, and each number is a different quantity. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an infinite amount of numbers. Numbers keep going on and on and on. And at first, we think that, oh, numbers are just useless. I only use numbers in school. I don't need these numbers. Numbers, I only use them in school. I only do addition and subtraction in school. I only do multiplication and division in school. I only do algebra in school. We think that we do, as we're young, we only think that numbers are only for school. We only learn these things in school. We only use these things in school. You see, I hear a lot of people saying that school is useless because most of what you learn is not applicable to the real life. And that may be so, but education is the foundation of our lives, you see. Without education, then let's say you don't go to school at all. You're not homeschooled. You don't learn anything, period. You don't learn anything. You don't learn anything in school. You don't learn anything school related. You don't learn anything, you just carry on with life. Well, what would happen? Many people think that, oh, that's fine, I could just carry on with the world because I don't need anything. We don't use anything in school. Well, okay. So, many people have a phone these days, and they type documents, they type texts. And you see, if it weren't for school, you wouldn't learn how to read. If it weren't for school, you'd be thinking that you'd be learning a bunch of gibberish. You'd open up your phone and you'd be like, I have no idea what I'm reading. You may think that we don't need anything in school. Let's take English or language class for an example. In English, we learn communication. We learn how to communicate with others. We learn how to write reports. We learn how to write book reports. We learn how to write persuasive essays. We learn how to write, or we do reports on many different things. We write stories. We learn about terms in speech like similes and metaphors, comparing two things. And if we don't learn any of these things, then our vocabulary will just be blank. We will not have anything in our, mental dictionary. Whenever we'll try to describe something, that right word that we are looking for, that right word, it will not come to grasp. We use writing in so many different ways in life. As pundits, we write kathas, we write different messages. In the real life world, let's say you're applying for a job. Well, you have to write your resume. You have to persuade your boss why you think you are qualified for that job. You have to persuade whoever you have to persuade why you are worthy. You have to say why you are better than everyone else who is going to audition or apply for that job. And if you don't go to school, you may learn how to read without going to school, that's fine. But if you don't have the vocabulary, if you don't have certain things, you see, in school, one of the things that we do is persuasive essays, and we basically have to write something that will convince others. If we don't use that to write our job application or a resume, then our boss is just going to take us like a joke. They're going to think that we don't know anything. They're going to think that we are just an uneducated person. They're going to think that this person has not put in enough work to even qualify for this job. And you see, this is knowledge. Knowledge is where we can take what we have learned in schools, what we have learned, what our parents have taught us, what other people have taught us, as long as it is good, and apply it to our daily lives, where we can take what we have learned and apply it in our everyday lives, where we can use it to help us get jobs, to help us make money, to help others. You see, all of this education, all of this knowledge that we've accumulated over all of these years, it's all useless. It all goes to waste if we can't use it to help others. There's no point of putting so many years of hard work and dedication into learning and remembering and retaining all this information if we can't use it for good, if we can't share it with others, if we can't use it for a good purpose that not only will help us, but shall help each others. As pundits, we should never use our education, our studying, our knowledge. We must never use that to only boast about how great we are. Instead, one of our many purposes in life as a Brahmin and as a Pandit is to educate others and to make sure people do not go on the wrong path, but follow the path of God, righteousness, and dharma. Knowledge, it is a wonderful thing because we can do so many things with it. We can either use it for the bad, or we can either use it for the good and to help elevate each other. We have chanted the Sri Shivaji Chalisa, and today I would like to discuss one of my favorite verses from this Chalisa. What is it saying? एक कमल प्रभु राखे उजोई, कमल नयन पूरन चहन सोई, कतन भक्ति देखी प्रभु शंकर, भये प्रसन्न दिए चितवर। एक कमल प्रभु राखे जोई, कमल नयन पूरन चहन सोई, कतिन भक्ति देखी प्रभु शंकर, भये प्रसन्न दिए इच्छित वर. A beautiful verse from the Sri Shivaji Chalisa. What does this verse say? Eka kamala prabhu rakhe ujoi, kamala nayana purana chahan soi. This verse explains a little story. You see, Bhagavan Vishnu was performing puja to Bhagavan Shiva, which I'm sure every one of you do. In fact, Monday is a very special day dedicated to Bhagavan Shiva, as you all know. So why not take the time to discuss a story dedicated to the puja and to the worship of Bhagavan Shiva. Bhagavan Vishnu was performing puja to Bhagavan Shiva. And one of the many things that we can offer to Bhagavan Shiva, one of the many things that we can chant, is the Sri Shiva Sahasranam. Sahasranam, which is the 1008 names of Bhagavan Vishnu. Of Bhagavan Shiva, rather. And every year during Shivratri at the mandir, while it was open, we would always chant the 1008 names of Bhagavan Shiva. And for each name, we'd offer one lotus flower. The lotus flower Now, it's a very special flower. It's a very, very special plant. It is not only favored by Bhagwan Shiva, but it is favored by every other deity. That's only one of the many special things of the Kamal flower. So, why is this lotus flower so special? Well, not only is it beautiful physically, but it brings a very beautiful message that I'd love to share with you all. And I'm sure you've heard me say this many times. So, where do you think the lotus flower grows? Where do you think it grows? Does it grow in a fancy garden? Does it grow in our backyard? Does it only grow in certain places where it's a certain temperature and it is a certain climate? Does it grow in certain countries? Where does this flower grow? Well, yes, it does grow in certain countries. But why can't we just see it in our backyard? Why can't we just see this flower anywhere? Why can't we just buy at the supermarket a lotus flower seed or a lotus flower? They sell tulsi all over the place, and one of them is the Bhavani Shankar Mandir gift shop. You see the tulsi plants. You see them everywhere. You can even see them at the supermarket sometimes. You can access it from a lot of places, puja stores, many places. So, why isn't this always the case with the lotus flower? Why can't we just grow it anywhere? Why can't we just grow it in our house, where our house is clean? Of course our house is clean, and we want to keep our plants in the most pristine condition, in the most caring of surroundings, so that we may have the right clean surrounding for the plant to grow in, so that it does not die before we, use it for puja or for any other purposes. So why can't we just grow this lotus flower in our puja rooms, at our altars? Well, for those who are in Guyana or many other places where the lotus flower grows, you will notice that it always grows among the mud or places where it's not really the most cleanest. Most of the time, they don't grow in clean places. They don't grow in fancy gardens. They actually grow in places where it is not the most cleanest. They grow in the mud and the soil, among the worms, the insects, and the bugs. I myself have seen this. When I was in Guyana in July and August, I would sometimes drive by and see lots of lotus flowers planted, growing naturally, of course. But it will always be near the mud or places where it's not the most clean. And this is the most extraordinary, in my opinion, this is the most extraordinary thing about the lotus flower. Because you can see that the lotus flower is growing in the mud. We see that it grows in the most unclean places, and yet it retains its purity and its beauty. It retains its vibrant, natural pink color. It does not die because of its surroundings. In fact, if you take a lotus flower and you try to make it grow, I know my father, Pandiharas, has told you many times, if you try to take a lotus flower, you take it from an unclean place and you transport it to a cleaner place where it's much, cleaner, in our opinion, then it will cease to grow and it will most likely die. And even though the lotus flower grows in the mud among the worms, among the insects, among the many dirty or gross things that we may consider to be gross. Although it grows in these certain types of places, it still remains its purity and most of all its beauty. It retains its beautiful natural color. It does not become dirty. It does not become stained. If anything, it adds beauty to its surroundings. It adds beauty to what we considered to be unclean. And here's an example that I'm sure most of you can relate to. Here's an example to really simplify what I'm trying to say. So, someone is walking, or you may be walking in a mall, which would now be closed because of what's going on in the world. You would be walking in a mall or a place where it'd be really crowded and there's lots of noise. It could be the supermarket. It could be maybe even at school, in the hallways. You know, in the school that I go to, there's a rule where you can't wear headphones or earplugs, or you can't listen to music in the hallway because you may be called by a teacher or something, and if you can't hear them, then you're in a lot of trouble. When you're listening to the music with your headphones, you can't hear anything in your surroundings. You may be at the supermarket, at school, in the hallways, somewhere where it's extremely crowded and noisy. Somewhere where there's lots of noise, lots of distractions, lots of sounds, smells, lots of things that will try to distract you, and instead of keeping you focused, it will try to distract you and drive you away from your task that you're trying to complete. Like in school, for example, we're doing our assignment, we're doing it work, but it's like we're thinking of something else. And all things that we are thinking about, it all goes away because we just think of that one thing that really seems to catch our attention the most, that isn't schoolwork. So you're walking and people are talking to each other. They're being bothered about each other. They are shouting at each other. They're fighting with each other. They may be quarreling with each other, laughing with each other, talking to each other with happiness, sadness, anger, all of these different things, except for you, because you have your secret weapon, which is your headphones. Your fancy noise-canceling headphones that'll cancel out all of the noises happening around you, and you will only hear whatever you're listening to. Whether it be music, a podcast, anything, a video, watching a video, something to take your mind off of your surroundings. Something that will take your mind off of everything that is happening around you. When we are working and listening to music, when we are doing the chores, when we are sweeping, when we are vacuuming, when we are taking out the trash, it all seems to go by completely quickly when we are listening to music. When we are cooking in the morning and we play some bhajans on the speaker and everything seems to go away. Everything seems to not be present there. All that exists is you and whatever bhajan you are listening to. And all of a sudden your work is done because all this time you are paying attention to whatever you are listening to, and it all goes by quickly in an instant. And you see, we must be like this. We must not be affected by our surroundings. When we are cooking or doing other chores, there may be lots of noises or lots of things to try to distract us from our path, to try to sidetrack us from completing our task. But we must always stay dedicated to completing the task. Get your work done so that you may enjoy the pleasures afterwards. Before we perform our puja, we chant the sankalp. And this sankalp that we chant, it is a vow that we take to always be focused on Bhagavan Vishnu, or whoever we are worshipping in that puja. Man krama vachan, dhyana jo lave. One of the things that we chant in the Sri Hanumanji Chalisa. Man, our thoughts. Kram, our actions. Vachan, our speech. It should all be directed to our puja and to Bhagwan. Bhagwan has to be like the music that we are listening to. Bhagwan has to be like our headphones to cancel out all of the distractions in our lives, all of the different distractions, all of the different annoying things that will try to sidetrack you. Someone may be walking, they may be on the phone, but you still remained focused, laser focused on your puja. Of course, while Bhagavan Vishnu was performing his puja, of course he was focused and dedicated to completing the worship to Bhagavan Shiva, because those two are inseparable. Now, this is the part that I really love about this story. You see, Bhagavan Shiva, he wants to play a little trick. He wants to put Bhagavan Vishnu to the test. He really wants to see how devoted Bhagavan Vishnu is. He wants to see how much or what lengths Bhagavan Vishnu will go to, or whatever shall he do in desperate times to complete his puja. Bhagavan Shiva wants to know this. He wants to test Bhagavan Vishnu. He wants to test his devotion. And so what does he do? He quickly and quietly sneaks to Bhagavan Vishnu and steals one of the flowers, one of the lotus flowers. You see, Bhagavan Vishnu, he was doing the Shivaji Sahasranam, and for each name that he would call, for each name that he would chant, he would offer one flower at a time, one lotus flower at a time. And remember the lotus flower, because I'll come to that in a bit. So Bhagavan Vishnu comes and he steals a flower, and he does so successfully. So Bhagavan Vishnu is offering Om Sthiraye Namaha, Om Sthanave Namaha, all these different names, all these 1,008 names he is chanting. And one by one, he finally comes to the last name of Bhagavan Vishnu, of Bhagavan Shiva rather. He comes to the last name. And so, as he is about to reach for the flower, he reaches, but he feels nothing. He just feels the ground. He turns around and he realizes that there is no flower. He realizes that there is no flower. He realizes that it has disappeared and that it is not there anymore. And so he starts to panic. He starts to worry. He starts to realize that he does not have the flower. And so what does he do? He starts looking and looking here, there, and everywhere. He starts to look for the flower that is now missing. So finally, he gives up. He gives up and he thinks of a solution. He's thinking and he comes up with a solution. What is his solution? Well, here is the solution. And it is in the prayer that we chant almost every night of Shanti Satsangh. What is this prayer? Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Vidyanagamyam Bandi Vishnu Bhavabhaya Haram Sarvaloke Kanartham. What does Bhagavan Vishnu do? Well, he has one tool in his artillery. One tool that he shall use that shall complete his puja and shall satisfy him. Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam. Kamalanayanam. He has the eyes of the lotus flower. He has the eyes of the lotus flower, you see? And instead of looking for the flower, instead he gave up and he was about to offer his eye, which is equivalent to the lotus flower, to Bhagavan Shiva. Of course, Bhagavan Shiva stopped him and explained what he did to test his devotion. Of course, we must always be devoted to Bhagavan Shiva. We must always not be distracted. What must we learn from this? We must always be like the lotus flower. We must not be distracted by our surroundings. We must not be affected by our surroundings. But at the same time, we ourselves must not distract ourselves from completing the task. And that task, it can range between anything. From performing puja, from doing many other things. And secondly, to use our knowledge for good. Knowledge is to make sure that we may learn and accumulate all this education, all this information. But without knowledge, knowledge is the power to retain all of it. And without knowledge, all of it goes to waste. Prem Sabalo Shri Umapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Please forgive me if I've made any mistakes. And don't go anywhere because now my dad Pandit Hardat is now going to come and continue this session of Shanti Satsangh. Please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned and continue watching. Prem Sabalo Shri Gantapati Bhagavan Ki Jai. Shri Umapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Bhavani Shankar Bhagavan Ki Jai. Please stay tuned.
बोले उमापति महादेव की जय। कर्पूर गौरम करुणावतारम संसार सारम भुजगेन्द्रहारम सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। बोले Ramaputi Mahadeva ki Jai. My pranam to all of you for joining us, and thank you for joining us in Shanti Satsangh today. Well, there's so much that was discussed. Of course, I will not be adding any of our katha, because Pandit Bhuvan, I think, did a really wonderful job speaking so eloquently on topics of our dharma, on Shivji Tattva, devotion to Bhagwan Shiv. Today, I want to acknowledge our sponsors, friends. I want to sincerely thank our dear sister Nadia Singh for being one of our sponsors today. Always very supportive to our cause and to our traditions, our culture, in whatever we do here. She is giving thanks today to all her family, extended family, to everyone who has treated her well, not as in-laws and extended family, but more so as family. And giving gratitude in life is extremely important, because it shows, that you appreciate the blessings that were given to you by so many. So thank you, Nadia, and God bless you at all times for always thinking and extending your gratitude to others and your love for us as well. Today as well is in loving memory of parents Balwantya Itwaru. So the parents Balwantya Itwaru Khemraj, Basil Khemraj, brother Mawaharan Khemraj, sister Shobha Khemraj, and these, of course, well wishes, memorial come from all the children and siblings, Ramrup, Sohan Ram, Mohan Ram, Ramjas, Dindyal, Shobi, Sati, Sunita, Lilauti, and all other family members who are thinking about the passing of their beloved ones. So many folks have passed away in this family, and they are taking the time today to remember their beloved ones. May Bhagwan Shivji on this very beautiful day shower blessings and abundance on all the Pitris and ancestors who have passed away. And we'll dedicate a song in their memory today to make a connection to the divine. Bhagwan bless all of them. Today as well, our dear Auntie Chan, she becomes a sponsor as well of Shanti Satsangh. It is public knowledge, Auntie Chan, Tara or Dolly Lal, her mom, you know this if you're on social media, has been tested positive for COVID-19. She is the elderly Mata or mother in our community, very devoted, firm faith, spiritual, always guided by her Creator. And she is in the hospital fighting this virus. And we pray and ask that Bhagwan Shivji sends the Lord Bhagwan, who is the Nagadevata Trahima Pahima, who controls the poison, who allows poison not to dwell in others but in himself. May he send healing energies to Mataji Chan, Auntie Chan, and may her smile be once again there with us. And may she there be again with her daughter once again, Tara, in her home to join in family times and prayers. So this donation actually came from Auntie Chan. She is in the hospital, but has, of course, has afforded us the opportunity to receive her gratitude while she's there. May Bhagwanji bless her. We'll have two bhajans, my friends, and then we have an exciting tribute tonight. We're going to have a little question and answer session, where a Q&A, where you get to type your questions. Of course, we'll not answer each and every question, but we'll take a few for discussion. Interesting ones, to get you going. So this song is dedicated to our second sponsors today. In loving memories of Balwantya Itwaru Khemraj, Basil Khemraj, brother Mawaharan Khemraj, sister Shobha Khemraj, from all the other siblings and so on, and family and friends, this Bhagwan Shivji Bhajan dedicated to all of you. And then the second song will be dedicated to our dear sister Nadia. and I will sing a few verses of prayers for Auntie Chan tonight, and then we'll begin a nice interactive at 8:30 or so, a nice interactive session. Please enjoy this beautiful bhajan, Samay Ek Tara, dedicated to Bhagwan Shivji.
समय एक तारा जब बोले, जल थल नभ में मधुरस बोले, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय। समय एक तारा जब बोले, जल थल नभ में मधुरस बोले, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय। जग के दुख संताप रे मनवा, जब तुझको कर पाए, मोह माया के जूते बंधन, जब तुझको हर पाए, जपना मुख से होले होले, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय। जब तप में है सच्चा सुख है, क्या लेना चल बल से, पतित पावन नाम है उसका, उसका नाम है जल से। जीवन के चादरिया डोले, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय। कर्म ही सच्चा ज्ञान योग है, कर्म ही कर जीवन में, कर्म कर्म की उत्तम कीर्ति, दुनिया के उपपावन में, दया धर्म का बीजक बोले, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय। समय एक तारा जब बोले, जल थल नभ में मधुरस बोले, ओम नमः शिवाय, 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 ओम नमः शिवाय।
Bhagwan Bholenath's blessings to all the Khemraj and extended family who has passed away, and Bholenath Bhagwan who lives in the crematorium. He lives where he receives us when cremation happens. He lives and, of course, awaits the soul to purify it. May Bhagwan Shivji offer blessings to all of them. Our dear sister Nadia had requested a bhajan as well to sing for someone in her life who has made some inspiration as well, and as extension to all the family members as well in her family. This bhajan for Bholinath Bhagwan dedicated to your dear sister. Please enjoy the blessings of Bhagwan Shivji.
शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा जब तीन लोक गाए शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा जब तीन लोक गाए नाचे धरा गगन तो नाचे धरा गगन तो झूमे दशो दिशाएं शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा जब तीन लोक गाए तू देव सबसे न्यारा तुझको नमन हमारा तू देव सबसे न्यारा तुझको नमन हमारा लाई है तेरे द्वारे दर्शन की कामनाएं शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा पंछी पवन सुनाए नाचे धरा गगन तो झूमे दसो दिशाएं शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा जब तीन लोक गाए मस्तक पे चंद्र आधा है रूप तेरा साधा मस्तक पे चंद्र आधा है रूप तेरा साधा आई है गंगा धारा देकर तेरी जताए शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा तारे गगन के गाए नाचे धरा गगन तो झूमे दसो दिशाएं शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा जब तीन लोक गाए हे प्रेम की सुध भी हे रूप चंद्र का भी हे प्रेम की सुध भी हे रूप जब तीन लोक गाए।
शिवनाथ तेरी महिमा जब तीन लोक गाही. Your mahima, Shivji, your greatness, your abundance of energy and bliss is being sung and praised by the three worlds that we believe in. Friends, I'll do a dedication to Auntie Chan, and this is a mother of our community, and in her tender age, her gentle age that she's in, of course, and this COVID-19, it's not a fair match, but prayers are medicine. Prayers make the impossible become possible. Let us together sing two verses of Nirvanashtakam to Bhagwan Shivji. And what we're saying, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. We are not the mind, not the body, not the intellect. We are nothing. Nacha prana sankhyo nave panchavayu. We are not the 5 ears that reside in the body. We are not the prana. We are nothing. We are just one with Shiva. We are here to become one with Shivaji. After this dedication, you can start thinking your answers and probably start typing them. We'll have a look at them. Your questions, rather, on YouTube and on Facebook, and we'll give them a shot. So let us pray together. Mano Buddhahamkar. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Manobodhamkar Chittaninaham न चाश्रोत जिहवे न चाघ्रान नेत्रे मनोबुद्धहंकार चित्तानिनाहं न चाश्रोत जिहवे न चाघ्रान नेत्रे न चाव्योम भूमिर्न तेजो न वायु चिदानंद Shivoham, Shivoham,
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham.
Everybody.
Shivoham.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham.
न चा प्राण संख्यो न वै पंचवायु न वा सप्त धातुर न वा पंचकोश न वा पानिपादं न चोपस्थपायु चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham.
न मे द्वेष रागो न मे लोभ मोह मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्य भाव न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्ष चिदानंद रूपा शिवोहम शिवोहम चिदानंद रूपा
Shivoham, Shivoham.
न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञ अहं भोजनं नैव भोजं न भोग चिदानन्दरूप शिवोहं शिवोहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोहं
Shivoham.
चिदानन्दरूप शिवोहं Bole Shiv Shankar Bhagavan ki Jai. May Bhagavan grant her strength and abundance, and our prayers and her love, I know is felt by her. I pray and hope that she makes a speedy recovery. Jai Shankar Bhagavan. So friends, I will now have a little bit of interaction with you virtually, because this is the purpose of us being here, to celebrate, to give gratitude, to pray for, and all this. And it's a mixed, nice program. I want to make sure that everyone has a chance to get a piece of everything, because the program really is meant for this. So, is there anything that is confusing to you as a Hindu? Have you ever seen something as a Hindu that you don't ever understand, or didn't make sense, or you need a clarification on it? I would like you to perhaps type your questions, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Don't be afraid to anything you can type. We'll look at it. So there we go. Ivy Narayan. My question is, why do we use a piece of gold in a funeral service puja? First time I was in a peaceful and learning. Yes. So Ivy was at a funeral we did on when was it? Saturday. Saturday we did a funeral for Uncle Bobby, and it was the most peaceful funeral I have ever conducted ever. So what happened when someone dies? It is actually 5 pieces of gold. It is 5 pieces of gold that we put, and the 5 pieces of gold are placed in the 5 entry points of prana. So remember, the body have 5 breaths or 5 air that goes in and out of the body. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Through the mouth, through the nostrils, and through the genitals. And so the 5 pieces of gold are placed at this piece. It is said that where breath enters and exits, that is called the seat of the prana. And what we do is put pieces of gold there at the time of death to honor the prana which serve the body as such. That's pretty much why we put the 5 pieces of gold in funeral services. So good question there, Ivy. Let me see what else we have. Yes, Auntie Leela, the book on Surdas, this one here is in Hindi and it's in English as well. You can take a copy of it there, and you can get that. So let's see what else question we have here. Lakshmi Punai. My question is, at a funeral, is flowers okay to be put in the casket? Flowers is okay to be put in the casket. RT on the body is usually not recommended, because RT is done on a living live object, not the dead. What is the difference between 2 Ekadashi Vrat? This is a very good question. So 2 Ekadashi occurs 11 days after the new moon, and then when the new moon occurs, the next fortnight will go for 2 weeks, and the next Ekadashi will be 11 days after the full moon. So it's 11 days after the new moon and 11 days after the full moon, because the Hindu month has 2 fortnights, the dark half and the bright half. Both of them are, of course, extremely auspicious. Lalita Singh, Panditji, why can't we do puja when someone dies until 1 year? Excellent question. Not only puja you can't do. You can't party, you can't go to reception, you can't celebrate, you can't have a Christmas drink, you can't have that kind of stuff. It's not only puja. It's a lot of things as well. Because I tell you what, people find a lot of reasons not to pray. The minute them chachi, ke uncle, ke picnin, ke grandpa, somebody far, far, far died in the family, Panditji, me can't pray no more because somebody died. Well, you can pray anytime, but you cannot celebrate every time. Learn this today. What happens when someone in your direct lineage dies? Means if you're in a family and your father, and your chacha or direct impact, especially in the home, pass away, the first year is for mourning. The first year the soul goes through It's stages to get to Paramatma. And during that time, it is meant for you to tone down your celebratory stages of life and allow the soul to dwell, and to go peacefully. When there is a party and all this kind of thing, it is not great for the sadhana that you're performing. It is not great for the sadhana that you're performing. You're supposed to be not in sorrows and mourn and cry each day, oh, daddy died or mommy died or cousin died. No. It's not meant for that. The 1 year period is to allow your sadhana, your practices and your prayers to suppress all types of things to allow the soul to grow. Now, not only puja, you can do puja in your home, you can do, like we do online puja, and you can do that stuff, but you cannot do anything celebratory, like a jandi or a big satsang and things like that. Those are called celebratory things. All as well, you cannot do parties. You shouldn't be partying at a reception because it's not considered, that's considered, celebration. So that's that. Let's see what else we have. So we do 2 Ekadashi. Kavita D. Singh, why do we offer 5.5 rot to... I don't know why we have for 5.5 rot. There is no reason for it. I offer 108 rot. I offer 10 rot. I offer 1 rot. Sometimes I offer a piece of rot. In the eyes of Hanumanji, there is no requirement of the number of rot you can offer to him. So it's not limited to 5.5. That's a tradition, I think, that was brought up by some and carried on by others. Let's see. What else do we got? Do gods die? And why do they reincarnate into different avatars? So just like gods don't die, Krishna Bhagavan never die. As the Bhagavad tells us, the unborn cannot take birth and the deathless cannot die. So why do gods take different avatars? Because for the fire work, you need the firemen to do. For the doctors, you need people who are trained in doctor work to do. Bhagavan takes avatar depending on the work that's there to be done. When there's politics, when there's sweetness that has to happen, Krishna came. When there's laws that had to be set, Ram Bhagavan came. So depending on the work, the Lord will take that form and he will come. So let's see here. I love him. Next one here. Can you please explain the correct way of doing arti in the end of a jandi at home? Yeah. So the way of doing arti is, in general, in your home, let's start with your home, is when the arti is doing Jai Jagadish Hare, it's called Jai Jagadish Arti, or it's called Hanuman Arti, or Ram Bhagwan Arti, or Krishna Bhagwan Arti. It is not called people Arti. Understand this. I am not a fan of that, and as a matter of fact, if you're doing Jai Jagadish Arti and you're arting Bhagwan, that's awesome. The minute you start to go around and arting everybody that you invited, that is no longer Jai Jagadish Arti. That is people Arti. And of course, we don't have an Arti for people. So the proper way of doing it is to stay at your altar and do your Arti. That is how you do Arti to God. You have your elders, mother, father, and things like that, or your priest. Arti is done that way. It is never recommended for you to be distracted from the altar and to Arti everyone. You can stand up one place and pass the Arti, but not to everyone. That is not why Arti is meant or is designed. Why do some 12-day and some 13-day? So we explain this every Pitrupaksha of the temple. The 12-day ceremony is when all the pindas should be done. So 10-day, 10 pindas, 12-day, 16 pindas are done. Only the pindas. And on the 13th day, the Gita is usually done. 2 days, one day the 16th pinda, the 12th day, and the 13th day, the Gita is done. On the 13th day at 12 noon, the soul begins the journey towards, its course. That is according to Garud Puran. So why do we do 12 and why do some do 13? Because for convenience-wise, people cannot do, jobs and all that. They cannot do 2 days, so they put it all in 1 day, either a 12-day or 13-day. This has nothing to do with caste or lineage or anything like that. I'd recommend you, if you want to do 1 day puja, either 12 or 13, do the 13-day puja, because that's the day the soul, goes. During this COVID period, funeral is detained. when do we start counting in order to do Shraddh? So you always start counting after cremation is finished. So I did a cremation this morning, for example, Monday morning. So the first day will be Tuesday, because you cannot count today. You have to count today to tomorrow, that's 1. Then the next day is 2, and so on. You should never ever count from the time the person dies. Here's why. Suppose now the person died and, for 10 days or 12 days, you can't get a cremation home to cremate the body. What will happen? Are you going to do the 12-day or 13-day while they are still not cremated as yet? Right? So cremation has to happen, and after cremation happens, then is when you start counting, the day after. Let me see. Are there any rules on how women should worship Hanumanji? The only requirement for worshiping Hanumanji is bhakti. As long as women have bhakti as well, no requirement. Because of COVID, we couldn't do a funeral. The body was disposed of by the hospital. What will happen to that soul? This is an excellent question. And I get this question every single day from folks in New York, New Jersey, and elsewhere. Because they can't do a funeral. So what happens at that point in time, my friends? You know what happens? If a funeral ceremony cannot be done, your soul will have to be dependent now, truly, on the karmas that was performed by that soul. It's an amazing question. Because the body, you can't do a funeral rite and send off the body and all that kind of stuff, right? So the body will not, the 5 pindas are not, 6 pindas are not done. So the body relies solely upon the karmas. However, what I advise people to do, Garud Puran tells you this actually, that in the absence of a body, you can actually make an effigy. This thing is written in the books, by the way. So let's say somebody died in the forest, they got born, or they lost some in jungle or the mountain, some avalanche came down and you can't find the body. What are you going to do? You can actually do, Garud Puran says you can make an effigy of the body, you can burn it, and you can do a Shraddh by themselves. In Canada and America, for example, if you can't be there to do the funeral rites physically, you can actually do the pujas at home. You can have a Panditji do a puja by Zoom, the 6 pindas by Zoom, right? But something should be done. And I have been very busy on the phone providing this guidance to people, because if you wonder why I'm so busy, it's because we are in a predicament where funeral homes in some places do not allow you to be there to do it. So excellent question there, Maharani Khan. Why do some people raise 2 flags and some people do 1 flag for Hanumanji? The right way is to raise 2 flags for Hanumanji, 1 from him and 1 for his son Makardwaj. That's another story though. During Pitru Paksh, we are allowed to offer fruits. Yes, you are allowed to offer fruits to your altar anytime, Pitru Paksh or any other time. Panditji, as you mentioned, I saw Aarti done before when someone passed away and family members did. Thank you. Yep. So what happened here, Chandra Ajayasri? So Aarti, but what you see what happens at a funeral, there's a lot of things that people shouldn't do. So Aarti, for example, when people insist on doing it, I say no problem. Now, there is nothing wrong if you do it, but it is no benefit. If you Aarti a dead person, you're not getting any benefit at all. No benefit, because in a dead person, there is no negative aura. It's not going to help them be happy or anything like that. But people, you have to understand that, sorry, I see a question on YouTube there. So you have to understand that at the time of death, what happens? People want closure. Like this whole sindoor thing as well, pulling down sindoor, and so that's nowhere found in the books. Like if a dead man wears sindoor or put on sindoor, it means a dead man can, whatever. But people do it. I say, I am telling you there's no meaning to it, but if you find closure doing it, you do it, right? You do it. There's no benefit to doing it other than bringing closure to yourself. Are the benefits of Purnima and... Panditji, after a death in a family, I noticed in the immediate family do a monthly satsang. That's compulsory. It's important because on a monthly basis, the Panditji will give you a time where the soul transcends to another planet, and it is wise to do a monthly satsang. Not compulsory, but highly recommended. Are the benefits of Purnima and Ekadashi Vrat the same? They can be, but Purnima is a different impact itself. Ekadashi is for something very, very different, but they all both are extremely benefit. Darshani, sorry, Umar Amlal first. Why do some pundits request buy slippers, clothing, pot, spoon? I've never actually recommended that people buy slippers and blankets and everything, because you physically cannot offer that to the dead. They're gone already. The soul is not going to wear the blanket. The pundits usually take that stuff home. So some people want to buy it, but never ever have I given someone a list and say you must get gold cow and this, and give, when rain fall, go and give somebody an umbrella outside, let them walk. If somebody feels cold, give them a blanket. But there is no virtue in giving that to someone when they die. I don't know why other pundits do it, because I can't speak for them. Darshani, our prayers and get well. Okay, that's wishing Auntie Chan well. Which deity we should not offer tulsi to? You should absolutely not offer tulsi to Ganesh ji. Never offer tulsi. There is a story behind them, Ganesh Prasad and so on. Never offer tulsi to Ganesha. Viola Mahadin. Sorry, we have a YouTube question here. Let's go to this one here. Why is it appropriate to do the deceased puja 12 and 13 days? So we touched a little bit on this. Just like bringing the body, there is a science to bring a body into this world. Disposing the body as well, there is a science to do that. Right? As we dispose a deceased body, the body is made up of Chitta, Jala, Pavan, Gagana, Sharira, 5 elements. We, with gratitude, return those elements back to nature, to creation. And the 6th pinda is offered to return back the mind. Then on the 10th day, because a physical body doesn't exist anymore and the soul needs to travel, we do 10 pindas which make an astral body. You know, if you see this movie, Doctor Strange by Marvel, they talk about the physical and the astral body. This is Hindu stuff. So on the 10th day, we create an astral body so the soul can use that to go back on the 13th day to the divine. You all must come to our Pitripaksh Garud Puran. We talk about death and dying and the whole thing there on, we actually stream it as well, so you can tune in. Can a female become a pandit? Of course they can become a pandit, but there are certain rituals which are restricted from performing. But definitely, in India they have, not pandit, when we say pandit, we're talking about guys like me and so, but females can do vakta, they can give lectures and stuff like that. Happens a lot in India for sure. Why do you need a Mahapatar to do dead work? Very good question. I don't know if many people know what's a Mahapatar. A Mahapatar, technically what happens, there was a time when the priests, even in India today, the Panditji do not go to the crematorium. They do not go to the crematorium to, do the dead work, do the pindas and so on the funeral day. They have special people doing that stuff there. In Manikarnika Ghat in India, they do that as well. Because the priests are dedicated to doing priest work to the deity. So the Mahapatar were the ones who did the 10-day and the funeral preparations and things like that. You don't have them a lot anymore though, but the priest today fulfills all of these responsibilities. These are amazing questions, guys, and I'm so excited, and we'll try to get as many of them as possible. We'll go a little bit over 8 o'clock. Explain 9 o'clock rather. Explain Panchak and death. So when someone dies in Panchak, it means that, Panchak, Panch means the 5. Panchak means 5 inauspicious planets for death. These planets are only applicable to death. You can actually do other things in Panchak, but if someone dies in Panchak, there are 5 inauspicious planets when they're present. They suppress the soul, from making its journey and have negative impacts on the soul's, journey. So what happened? A Panchak Shanti Puja is done. The Panditji prepares 5 dolls. We did it this morning actually. 5 dolls, like cotton dolls. And the Panchak Shanti Puja is done to them, the 5 planets. to appease them and to ask them to, suppress their energies so that the soul can have a good passing. There's nothing wrong in dying in Panchak. People are scared about mama, somebody in Panchak, 5 body from the village got dead and all this kind of stuff. Don't buy that nonsense. There's nothing wrong in dying in Panchak. If at all, there's so much puja that is done in a Panchak funeral. So that's what Panchak pretty much is. Counting starts on the day of the cremation or the next day. It starts on the next day. So here's why it starts on the next day. I addressed this earlier. When you cremate today, 10 pindas have to be done each day on a ghat. They call it dash ghat. So you can't do, when 6 pindas done today, cremate the body. As of tomorrow, you start 1 pinda, the next day 2 pinda. So tomorrow will be the first day if cremation is actually today. This is how the text actually put it. Do people die in bad planet? There is no such thing as bad planet. Every planet is good. They have just some negative effects. Can a woman blow a
shank?
Bhavani Shankar Mandir?
I think they mean a shank.
I think you meant a shank, Janet Singh. So I assume you mean a shank. Can a woman blow a shank? So women are not permitted to blow the shank. And I need to clarify this because our dharma does not obviously distinguish, between praying. But praying is not, blowing a shank is not part of that. So why a woman is not allowed to blow a shank? The shank, the shell that we blow, the conch, that is actually the bone of someone called Shankachud, who was married to Vrinda, Mahalakshmi. So that is one of the forms of Mahalakshmi. So when Shankachud was destroyed by Bhagwan Shivji, one of the conditions then was that if any woman puts their mouth on the shank, it is like, putting your mouth on, Mata's, husband and somebody else's husband. So it is not auspicious for a woman to blow a shank. But this is not, has nothing to do with gender equality, and so please understand this. It is not about that. Nandini Janki, can only son do Shraddh work for the mom or dad? What if you don't have a son and you only have a daughter? It's a good question. So if parents are there and they don't have a son and they have a daughter and the parents die, who does the Shraddh? So the scriptures recommend that a male does the Shraddh, but in the absence of a male, a female can actually perform the Shraddh. By the way, I did that on Saturday as well, where the husband passed away and the only person they have to do it is the wife. So she sat and she did the Shraddh. There's a story with Mata Sita on this. When Raja Dashrath had passed away, the monthly pindas were happening. And Bhagwan Ram was late one day to do the pinda. And so Mata Sita took a fruit and she made a pinda and she offered it to Dashrath. And the hand came out of the ground and accepted the pinda. So in circumstances where there isn't a male, a female can do it. Alrighty, so let's see here. Jai Ho. Panditji, when a person dies, does the soul knows? Oh, the soul is the only one that knows when you die. Afterward, everybody finds out because the soul never dies. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka. The soul is never dead. Let's see here. What about buying a cow when someone passes away? Buying a cow when someone passes away. You can give dan, but do not go poor giving dan. Right? Do not go poor giving dan. You have to do good karmas when you're alive, people. Please. God does not want to be bribed with a cow. Yamraj is not going to be bribed with a cow and some gold cow or sell slippers and things like that. You have to do good when you're alive. Buy slippers for people when they're alive. Rubber slippers, in the matter. I love rubber slippers. But buy that for people when they're alive, give when they're alive, give blanket and some when they're alive. That's pretty much what you have to know. Our tradition today is being misled by, buy little black dal for Shani and grass will be over. It's not that. Dolly Singh, a husband and wife is doing puja and the husband arti his wife. According to our Hindu traditions, no. And it's nothing about gender equality again. because it is not common for a husband to RT a wife. Our scriptures have told us that, in fact, that it's something we have to be careful with, because in the time we live in, we quickly run on that gender thing, why men are superior than women. Gosh, no, men are way far from being superior than women. As a matter of fact, in our tradition, they are at the bottom of the totem pole, men, because the wife is responsible for the tradition, the dharma, the culture, and everything else. But as in our traditions, it is believed that a wife doing seva, pati seva, brings her, emancipation. So it is not typical for a man to do RT to the wife. Can a woman blow a shank? We talk about that. Why do you give a gold cow during dead work? I touched on that already. Why do we offer tulsi to Lord Shiva? So there is a mixture of this here. There is no writing I have seen where they say tulsi shouldn't be offered to Lord Shiva. There are some interpretations that led people to believe that. But if you go to a place like Varanasi, where Shivji Bhagwan is Vishwanath, Hari Bhai, they have big tulsi, fresh tulsi malas that they put around Bhagwan Shiv. The milk has tulsi inside and so. So practically around the world where Shiv Puja is done, tulsi is offered to the Lord. What is the meaning of the women wearing sindoor? That is a whole hour discussion. Ideally, a woman wearing sindoor means a couple of things. To identify that they are married, first of all. It's an identity that they are married. And secondly, there's a science behind it. The kumkum is actually chemically enhanced to create reproductive energies in a woman when they wear it here. That's why unmarried women should not wear sindoor, because you don't want to have any energy, chemical energy enhanced for reproduction when you're not alive, when you're not married. Well, that's your choice. But so the kumkum is placed there to enhance the reproductive energy of a woman. And as well, our tradition, Ma Sita wore the sindoor here so that Ram Bhagwan's life can be long. Lots of beautiful question here. Lots of beautiful question here. Let me see. Anita got that right. We always, I don't tell people to buy slippers and umbrella and thing. Let me see here. Any other questions? If parents have only daughters, no sons, who should perform the Shraddh? So we addressed that already. The girls can perform Shraddh in the absence of the son. Why Brahman have to have a rat when they died? Oh, I know what you're talking about, the rant. So if you don't know what a rant is, that is a, I see the word rat there, so it's not a rat, it's rant. It is made up of bamboo, and it is a very simple thing. The answer to that is, if you know what a rant is, it's like made up of bamboo with very, very simple things, and they put a nice little decoration over it. Because the Brahman's life was supposed to be simple and humble, and that is how he leaves this world, in a simple made bamboo thing, not in a $5,000 casket that you push into Born. It doesn't make financial sense. So they're smart and they're simple. If at all, when that time comes, that's how I'm going down. Save the money and put me in a bamboo rant and put me in the fire. But that's what it is. Pretty much simplicity to reflect their life. Darshini Prasad, Sitaram Pandit, as a Hindu, what type of clothing we should wear attending a funeral? Excellent question. Excellent question. What type of clothing? We gotta talk about all these things. I don't know where we're gonna find the time from. Oh my God. I want to do a whole podcast or a whole hour talking about how to attend a funeral. How to attend a funeral, and after you attend a funeral, what you do. Let me tell you this thing. Before COVID and all that, let me tell you what the practice is in our tradition for attending a funeral. When you attend a funeral, you're not participating, you're not dead or not, you attend a funeral. When you go home, the first thing you're supposed to do is take out your clothes, put them for wash, and take a bath head down. Why? Because of cleanliness. You go to the funeral place and there's a whole bunch of germs there all over the place. There's tears, there's death, there's all kind of thing happen. So you go home and you bathe. You don't take home any virus, right? I've told many friends over there about Pandit Jimmy can't wash my suit and all this kind of thing. Well, wear something simple. Because germs, Hinduism is a religion of cleanliness. Satya, Daya, Tapa, Saucham. 4 things that makes a Hindu. Satya, truth. Daya, compassion. Tapa, prayer. And Saucham, cleanliness. So to your question, Darshini, what should we wear to go to a funeral? The simplest clothes that you can wear as soon as you get home. As a Hindu, I always want to dress as a Hindu. All the men, I've always told them, wear a kurta. Right? Wear a kurta or a short kurta, what it is. A suit is not our way of expressing our culture. So, wear something simple. Let me see what else we have here. Let me see what else we have here. Can you do a wedding when Holika is planted? When Holika is planted? I don't... I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to ask. Can you clarify that question for me? I just want to make sure I understand. Why do some people say no salt food until 12 or 13 days? So salt food is, to do Shraddh, you have to prepare the body in a certain way. Your body have to be aligned and focused in a certain way, relaxed in a certain way to do Shraddh ceremony. This is your Shraddh that you're going to do for your parents, by the way, is the last thing physically that you can do for them in this lifetime. So what you do, Shraddh, when fasting is done, you empty the system, no food, no salt and everything, the body becomes free and has the right frequencies to focus on your Shraddh and to send the soul of your ancestors, where they have to go. So salt food is not eaten for that reason. Salt, as a matter of fact, is kept away from that person's diet if they can. If not, pure vegetarian food alone is recommended. Let's see here. One more. Is it advisable for a female to pray or to go to mandir during the time of the month? Or some pandits say no. That doesn't Umar Ramlal. There is no restriction on that with regards to going to temple, at least. So, no restriction with that. Nandini Janti, thank you so much. Let's see here, any other questions? Can parents RT children? You can for an expression of love. Yes, you can RT them for an expression of love. Is it inauspicious to have an idol or picture of Shanidev at your home? I do not advise anybody to have a picture of Shanidev in your home or a murti of Shanidev in your home, because you cannot handle, I'll come up close and tell you this, you cannot handle what comes with Shanidev. If you want to do Shani Puja, go to the Mandir, Bhani Shankar Mandir. We have black stone, a granite Shanidev murti there, which is the most powerful you can pray to. Go there and do the puja. But you cannot handle, don't play with anything you don't know. Worship Shivji, that stone is good enough, that stone is strong enough to remove all grahas from your life. So stick with that one. People are not logging off. Oh, what time it is? 9:12. Okay, we'll take 5 minutes more, and then we'll wrap it up. You guys are enjoying this thing, so I'm gonna go with this here. Man and woman. I know some of you are anxious to write, so let me try to understand. Man and woman start living together. Can they sit and do? I got what you're saying. So not married according to Hindu customs. They're just living together. No, they can't do puja, and there's a deep explanation for that as well. They can do individual things, but not as a couple to do puja. What is the most appropriate angle for an altar to be in your home? Please go on. I got that. What is the most important angle for your altar? Indira Prasad, please visit my YouTube channel. I did a podcast on this. And Spotify as well. Spotify have a podcast for that. Devika Prasad, what can be done when someone died years ago and no shroud was performed ever? And if you want to perform a ritual, what can be done? So you can do something for them as well. There's different kind of shroud. There is Nandi shroud, there is Anteshti shroud, there's Varshik shroud. So if no shroud was done for them, you can actually consult your priest and get something done in their name, especially in Pitrupaksh. Pitrupaksh, I know some people religiously, when Pitrupaksh Day, they do shroud for their folks in memory of them. So you can do something shroud for them as well. Why do we do 3-day puja? I don't understand the question. Please clarify that. Let me see here. You're all welcome. Why do we regard trees and plants as sacred? So this is from my Bauji Minto Sharma. So trees and plants, they're part of creation. There is a Tulsidas Ji, when he was writing the Ramayana, he had no confidence in his knowledge that he can write Ramayana. And he said, what did he say? Sabike, I'm trying to quote the verse, which he said, but pretty much he looked at everything and he saw Ram and Sita in them. And he saw Ram and Sita in every form of life, in trees and in plants. And he says, if Ram and Sita are present in every form of creation, including trees and plants, then I'm going to take their inspiration. Most trees and plants as well for Hindus are representation of God as well. So for that reason we do. Can a woman wear sindoor even if her husband passed away? No. Should we throw dhar during Pitrupaksh? Of course you can. Nothing permits you, nothing refrains you. Can a son-in-law arti his mother-in-law? I hope he does. I know that topic, Sunita, is an old-time topic where a son-in-law can't arti the mother-in-law because of some kind of thing. No, you can. I arti my mother-in-law because that's my mother, right? For us, there is nothing in law, right? The law, when there was no law about that was our mother, but it becomes in law. Oh, the number of attendees are actually going up here. What's going on? So let's go to YouTube.
61 people on YouTube. Man.
61 people on YouTube, 380. Anyways, so let's go to YouTube. Where does the soul go after death? Christina Ramanan. Well, I'll tell you what. When I die, I'm going to tell you exactly where the soul goes. So the soul goes, there's a beautiful book that was written, I forget the author, it's called What Becomes of the Soul After Death. And also Garud Puran tells us about that. It goes to a journey, 16 different cities depending on the karmas, and the soul ascends and pays its prices, climb mountains. If you're a Hindu and you accept scriptures, that is what pretty much the soul does. Now the soul can either reincarnate depending on its karma, or the soul can actually go to God and merge with Paramatma. We are the Jivatma and the super soul is the Paramatma. If we're qualified, and this is the only body, Christina Ramanan, this is the only body that allows us to take the soul afterwards to go to God. And if we waste this life, then our soul is coming back right here in the form of some cockroach or scorpion again. So this is the chance for either to us merge with God and never come back, or come back here again. Let me see what else we have here. The monthly Pinda, Vidyabasiram, when a person is cremated, that planet that they're cremated on falls once in every month. Except in 1 month, it falls twice. That's why Varshik Shraddha are done on 11th month and before the 12th. Or in the 12th, before the 13th. So the monthly puja, when the monthly Pinda is done, the soul actually, when it enters the next city, then it feeds on the Pinda and it becomes happy. These are all amazing questions, and I like all of them. Why do a man have to give woman Mangal Sutra on wedding day? These are beautiful. I hope Bhumika is making notes on all these things, because these are beautiful questions we should do for our podcasting. So Mangal Sutra. You know the same thing that the ladies wear, have gold and things like that? By the way, Mangal Sutra made in gold is very, very auspicious. Mangal Sutra, Mangal means auspicious, and Sutra means a string. So it's an auspicious string. Before the bride actually wears the Mangal Sutra, it's supposed to be energized. Mantras are chanted and so on to energize that sutra. So when the bride wears the Mangal Sutra, she wears with her Mangal, or she carries with her auspiciousness. So that is usually, there's artificial ones and there's gold ones as well. All the ladies, tell the husbands you want gold Mangal Sutras. The gold one actually hold the energies longer, and it allows the auspicious omens to stay in you. So it's supposed to, energies, as you know, go. So after a year or so, the Mangal Sutra should be not thrown away and buy a new one, but re-energized. And re-energizing happens when you go to mandir study and do satsang, puja, and things like that, or pray. Then re-energizing occurs. So, and married women wear that. Why do people put coconut in a coffin? Don't know. I've never seen somebody put a coconut in a coffin. I've never done a funeral putting a coconut in a coffin. And there is no reason why you should put a coconut in a coffin, unless somebody has a desire to go eat. Well, sorry. We put coconut when you're burning holika, because when the coconut roasts afterwards, roast coconut best. But no coconut in the coffin. After, let's see here, I like the viewing thing. Viewing, guys, please dress nice and go to viewing. I know, I like to wear a suit and things like that, a suit and tie and so on, but reflect the Hindu culture. Ivy, we normally go to coffee shop, Tim, that's safe and right. Go home and stop spreading the germs. Go home and take a shower and make a coffee and drink right there. Yeah, and the men they do other business too. Why is son-in-law cannot do arti and the father-in-law and the mother-in-law? They can. Son-in-law can arti the father-in-law and mother-in-law. I arti my father-in-law and mother-in-law, so you start doing that. Do we come in from our back in the home? It's a tradition. When we were little, I used to go home and you had to turn in your back, because if you come in with your things, unless a zombie follow you. It's a superstition. Let's see here. Do we drink sugar water after we come home from the funeral, or a relative, and a cutlass in this? Yeah. So this one here has got to do with simple food. Sugar water is the simplest. You don't drink Cokes and this kind of thing to aerate your body, because you got to keep your body very pure. So the finest thing they had then was sugar water to drink. The cutlass and so on in front. I explain all these things at the temple. The cutlass and so on in front of the home, before you go in the home, is for purification. Hinduism, Satya, Daya, Tapa, Saucham, cleanliness. Everybody going in the home has to purify before they go in the home. It's a very important thing. So many questions here, guys. I don't know. Anyways, it's 9:21. Are you guys okay to go 9:30? Let's call it quits at 9:30. Right? And tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more and so on. Let's call it quits. Sitaram Bandit, how long is it okay before attending the temple of a family's funeral? After the 13th day. After the 13th day. Before the 13th day, do not go to the temple. Do not hug people and stuff like that. If you are directly, with the family, like observing the wake and so on, you don't. And you see, the thing is, the Hindu system says all this thing, and we do everything opposite. That's why we're spreading germs. Now, according to our traditions, you notice on the family actually who like, let's say if my father passed away, he's in the casket. What will happen today? Everybody come, they gonna hug you and tell you sorry and kiss you, and your tears go up and them. What happened? I've been in direct contact with my father's dead body, around him, around the environment. I'm picking up germs. You understand? I'm picking up germs physically. Then emotionally, I'm carrying a negative aura with a lower aura. I'm in grief, I'm in sorrows and all this kind of thing. So the Hindu tradition tells us, don't hug people at funeral home. Don't hug people. Because you could pass on the germs or the viruses, whatever, potentially, and you're giving your people your omens as well. That traditional Hindus, you will see them, they'll never hug you at funeral homes. Traditional Hindus and traditional Pandits, But by when we talk, Pandit, Abiga hug kiss everybody. Go ahead. But spreading germs, Saucham is a Hindu #1 priority. I'm glad I learned. Thank you. What else? I've learned so much. I'm a wealth of knowledge. Good. What else? All the information. More people come on. Tell you. All right, 9:30 we cut off. So we get 7 minutes more, a lot of time. Let me see here. Panditji, I have a Shani picture on my altar. Can that cause me harm? So we addressed this before. It doesn't cause you harm. Shani picture is an energy that has to be preserved. In your home, you should not have certain murtis exceeding certain. You can't have a murti exceeding 18 inches because it's a live murti. You gotta feed him every day, like we do at the temple. You gotta arti him every day. You gotta treat him like a living god. Shani Dev is an energy. If you don't attend to it, it's like leaving a burning diya unattended. Panditji, mother-in-law lives with son-in-law. He takes care of her. If she falls, he pick her up. When she dies, he cannot carry her casket. Why? Of course he can carry her casket. There is no rule barring them from doing that. When one passes, when do we start counting? You start counting the day after cremation. Panditji, my question, if you have the grahas in your home at your altar, is that okay? Or not sure, as you say, you have to Shani Dev in your the grahas. Same thing. You can have a graha, it's not recommended to have those things in your home, grahas and so on. Consult your Panditjis and they'll guide you, but they require a lot of maintenance. Can we have Kal Bhairav picture on our altar? You can. Kal Bhairav is Lord Shiva, and I like him. Can you do Digdati if the boy and girl are living living together? So that's a whole different thing. The Hindu wedding, I don't know where to start with that. It's not like a yes or no answer. Typically, I would say no, because Matikor, if you're living together already, then you've already crossed the path of wedding, and you've skipped stages. So not appropriate. There's lots of kinds of marriage for the Hindus. If you're living together like married people should, like married people are rather, then there's civil ceremonies to be performed. Digdati, don't recommend. Can you do Hindu prayers for a non-Hindu friend who dies? If they want, you can. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for all the value. Okay, why do people perform it Dud Muhi 3 days? Oh, I think that's what you meant, the 3 days after. Okay. Yeah, so Dud Muhi is done 3 days after the funeral. So that is when the preta, or the soul starts to have an appetite, work up an appetite, and food is given at that point in time. It is, if a very religious Hindu was buried, can his kids exhume the body and cremate it? If yes, is there a puja that needs to be done? Can they exhume the body and cremate it? I don't, because we have to exhume the body. Maybe I'm not understanding this question, and I need to understand it. Can they exhume the body and cremate it? I think you have to do that before you cremate, right? So yes, you have to. And but I think if a very religious person was buried, sorry. I got you what you're saying. If a very religious person, I didn't read it for it, was buried, can they? I don't know why you would want to do that though. That's like disturbing the body. I wouldn't do that. Can they? Of course they can, but I wouldn't. If it's done already. Is burial appropriate for Hindu? Cremation always recommended. Look at what the world is doing today. China, they're cremating dead people. Because when you're dead, you don't know what germs you have, right? So cremation recommended by the Hindu text, by the Hindu scriptures. And most appropriate, especially for the time we're living in. I have a picture with all the Navgraha Devatas. Shani Dev, you can have him at home. They're all the Navgrahas. It's less effective. But I don't encourage any people to get into Navgraha Puja worship at your home. It's guys, it's a whole different thing altogether. Why do we have 5 steps before cremation? Beautiful question. So 5 steps before cremation is to, usually the body, according to the text, the pindas should be done at different places. One pinda has to be done where the body died. One has to be done at the home. One has to be done at different places. So since we can't literally do the pindas at the 5 different, it's not practical at all. You do the 5 stops to represent the 5 places where the body was present. But great question. Can I keep my mom and brother who passed their picture at my altar? You should. I do. Can a son-in-law fetch mother-in-law coffin? Of course. That's Totka, by the way, so you can. If someone died for you, can you cook at your house? You shouldn't cook at your house because your house is full of lower energies and germs. Food shouldn't be cooked at your house unless it is food for your consumption. If you cook food and feed others, you're literally feeding them what you have in the house. Because cooking is a puja, friends. Cooking is a puja. Remember that statement. And you're not doing puja during that. YouTube has some there. I hope everyone. Where does the soul go? I talk about that. Panditji, why do they do 5 stops? We answer that one. Is it okay to bow on a pandit foot in a funeral home? Yes, it is. I say it is. Yes, there is no restriction on that. The 3 eyes of Lord Shiva, Tameshwar Arjun, the 2 physical eyes and the 3rd eye of Lord Shiva. This is the highest point of the 7 chakras, starting from Muladhara chakra. This is called. This is the 3rd eye. As they say today. It's called the Agna Chakra. This is beyond what the 2 eyes can see, but that's the minimal eyes I can give you in one night, in 1 minute. Okay, so we're going on now. It's 9:30, guys, and I think we should set up a different session for this, maybe like a nice quiet afternoon where we can answer a lot of your questions because I like all of them. I like all of them. Gold is so expensive. What is the substitute? Until I guess you're referring to the gold to put in the mouth. God, I'll get little chain link and thing like that you can cut. You're not gonna buy stuff like that. Come on. Yeah, son-in-law. This son-in-law thing is a big thing, man. Sandra Bal. Panji, thank you for all the answers, clarification. Glad it's helping. Lots of questions here, guys. We can't go through them. It's 9:30, and I know Ale gotta go sleep, so let's call it a night and take a look here. Can you get your gold mangal suit after marriage? You certainly can. I don't know where to get that in Guyana. Because Guyana, we didn't have, a lot of things. Guyana, they might get 5 gold ring here and 5 gold ring here, but no gold mangal suit. So we'll call it a night here, guys. Thank you all very much. I am always here to answer your questions. And I'm in a position where I can do that. So don't be afraid to when we have these sessions to ask your questions, because I think it's great for our learning. My goal is to break out a lot of this meaningless things that we're doing as Hindus. I say meaningless because the people who will tell you to do it, they can't give you a reason to do it. And the people who are doing it as well can't tell you why they're doing it. I grew up very tough as a Pandit in Guyana, where when you're little, like Bhuvan's age, he's 14 now. I was younger than him when I was practicing thing in Guyana, and I got a lot of slapping around. People order you to do everything. And that urged me to study and to delve and to ask, why? And I was as confused as you, so thank you very much. Lots of questions. I can't even get to all of them here, but we're gonna do this again sometime, one quiet afternoon, and we're gonna make it very practical. Thank you, everybody. God bless all of you, and we'll do our closing prayers now. Om Shantakaram Bhujagshayinam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalnayanam Yogi Virdhyanagamyam Bande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatam Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurmamritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om प्रेम से बोलो भवानी शंकर भगवान की जय सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय सब कोई जय जय सीताराम God bless all of you and Sitaram and we'll see all of you tomorrow evening 7 p.m. sharp on Shanti Satsangh. I totally enjoyed today, so what we'll do is we'll do another session like this perhaps over the weekend to see how things are going. Maybe a Friday night I think we can have a live, instead of a satsang, we do a little prayers and so on. And we can have a live podcast on Facebook and on YouTube, right? We can do a podcast on Facebook and on YouTube as well. So make sure you do that Friday night or so. God bless all of you. Sitaram. Take care, everyone. And we are having, tonight we're having, what are we having? Biryani. So Sita made biryani and salad tonight. So she tried her hand on the Indian style of things, and it actually smells so nice. I can't wait to go and have it. So God bless all of you. Enjoy your evening. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m., Bhavani Shankar Mandir Live. Invite friends and family to join. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell as well. Recommend this thing. Today's show, recommended, share it for everybody so that they can have the knowledge. Encourage them to learn. Encourage people to have an open mind. Stay positive. God bless.